Welcome to Franklin Park on this chilly morning. To start us up and warm us up and ground us today, we're going to start with Linda Wells, who is going to get us relaxed and warm. She is a wellness warrior, and it's now my pleasure to introduce Linda Wells.
What's up? All right. I'm going to come up on the stairs because there's all these people back there. Yeah. All right. So I'm Linda Wells, also known as Linda Wellness Warrior. And this is an opportunity for us to ground ourselves, warm up a little bit, because it's cold. All right. So I'm going to do a Qigong-inspired yoga flow type of situation. And we'll start by stepping. Just give yourself a little bit of space. You might tap the person next to you. Just say, hey, what's up? And start first by bending your knees and shaking. So just shake a little bit. All right, now we're going to go right to left. You can still keep that bounce. We're warming up our spines here. You can join us too. All right. Inhale and exhale as you're going side to side. And then come back, center, keep shaking. All right. And then pause. And I just want you to check in, see how your body's feeling right now. Do you feel anything? Is anything tingling? Are we tingling? All right, now let's shake our hands a little bit. And then walk your feet in a little bit more. Stand in a way where you're feeling strong, proud. Notice these trees. Maybe reflect the tree. Reach your arms up overhead. You can interlace your fingers. Flip your palms. And we're going to ground in the post. So you'll come up onto your tippy toes. Come down onto your heels. Any amount. It might be I'm bringing one foot up. Other foot down, foot up, down. Maybe you could bring both feet up. Feel it. Notice it. And then reach your arms out to the side, come back down, and we'll shake a little bit more. And then pause. And then we'll do a breath of joy because this is a joyful moment. All right. Reach your arms out to the sides. Any amount. You can cactus your arms if reaching them out this far is not your jam. That's all right. All right. So you're reaching out. Inhale. Inhale. Take another sip in. Reach your arms forward. Come up. Sip in. Exhale. Reach your arms down. All right, we'll repeat that. Reach out, center, up, down. Bend your knees up. You need to get that moving, all right? All right, we'll do that again. You come out, come center, come up, exhale down. If you would like, you can start to come towards the center, looking down. If you have any issues like with glaucoma or blood pressure, I'd skip the coming all the way down. All right, come on. One more time, up. And you go faster. Come on. You can go faster. If you want to get warmer, you're going to have to go a little bit faster. Get the heart moving. It's all right. It feels like a dance, right? And it's joy. It's joy. Do you feel the joy? Smile. All right. Come back, take one hand, palm to your heart center, another palm onto your belly. And notice what your heart is doing. How's your breath? Connect to your breath. Connect to your chest moving. Notice. Notice the elements around you. Notice what you're hearing, what you're feeling. Give thanks. Thank you all for giving me a moment.
Let's hear it one more time for Linda, our wellness warrior here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Woods, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Parks Commissioner for the City of Boston. We're so excited to be here after this has been 3 years in the making. This project has been our most engagement on any plan that we've had in the past 20 years. We started pre-COVID at the clubhouse in person with over 400 people attending a meeting. And since, we've had over 26,000 individuals engaged in the planning process, with more than 8,000 people providing direct input. Outreach included flyers in the community, signage in the park, email, direct email, pop-up events, door-to-door canvassing, community workshops, neighborhood meetings, and communications with over 150 local organizations. And the one question we continue to ask at all those meetings is, who's missing? Who's not here at the table? Whose voice are we not hearing? And we're able to continue to build the engagement momentum. Just as a reminder, this is our action plan. After this is released, we have a 60-day comment period that will run through February 10th. And we'll begin the work of determining then which phases the work gets put in, and then start robust community conversations about the minute details in every single phase to get the project started. We'd like to start by thanking the lead for the design team, Reed Hildebrand, who is here with us. Thank you for all your work on this. With the support from Agency Landscaping Design and Mass Design. So thank you to the three of you for all of your work throughout the past 3 years on this project. And I want to especially call out our project manager, Lauren Bryant, and our chief landscape architect, Liza Meyer, who worked tirelessly on this for the past 3 years. It is now my pleasure to introduce our great park champion, a person who knows the value of parks across the city. She's in them daily. Please join me in welcoming the Mayor of the City of Boston, Mayor Michelle Wu.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to our wellness warrior. That was just what I needed this morning. We celebrated my older son's 8th birthday over the weekend, and and it was just a reminder. You know, time goes by really, really fast in some ways, and there's so much to do. And the fact that he was born in my first year on the council, and now already the equivalent of 2 mayoral terms old in a blink of an eye is a reminder to me of how urgently we need to get going, so that every single one of our young people, our family members, or every generation has what they need as quickly as we can possibly get there. I want to also recognize that I know at least Councillor Tanya Fernandes Anderson is here. Thank you, and I'll invite her up to speak right after me. And I'm not sure if any of our other colleagues are here yet, but thank you so much for the incredible support and hard work of each and every one of our colleagues at the city, state, and federal level, who all believe in Franklin Park as a true treasure of our community, and one that we must continue investing in. Thank you to the best Chief of Energy, Environment, and Open Space and Parks Commissioner that one could have, Reverend Mariama Whiteham and Ryan Woods, the power duo that makes sure our parks and open spaces are beautiful all throughout the year and are continually full of community with the programming and investments, sorry, whichever media channels this, investments and ideas of the community that we need to continually keep going and innovating and making more and more people really see that each park is their own. I want to thank Ricky Thompson, President of the Franklin Park Coalition. Thank you for your partnership. I know Veronica Trufanova is here from the Emerald Necklace Conservancy. You'll hear from her shortly as well. And thank you to Liza and the entire team. Our parks bring us together and remind us of the life all around us, the soil beneath our feet and sometimes beneath our pavement, the trees and grass and plants that will grow if we let them, if we take care of them. Most importantly, these are opportunities for us to connect with each other in spaces that cut across every language, every generation, every background.
Yeah.
Whether it's over a game of pickup, making new friends while out with your kids, or sledding right after a snowfall, parks are spaces that build community. And so it makes sense that we will turn directly to our communities when it's time to improve our parks. At every step of the way, I want to thank our community members for ensuring that everyone's voices have been part of this Franklin Park Action Plan. And we need to go even further. We heard your call for a park with resources that were affordable and accessible for all, a space that's as safe and inclusive as it is beautiful, and a park that's true to its roots and resilient enough to be enjoyed by our grandkids and their kids after them. That's why the plan's priorities include taking an interdepartmental approach to creating a welcoming space for neighbors and families to come together, providing opportunities to develop our workforce and close the racial wealth gap here with programs like PowerCore, establishing a coalition of stakeholders and hiring a Franklin Park administrator to oversee daily operations, maintenance, and projects moving forward, and nurturing the park's natural landscape by weeding out invasive species and encouraging native trees and plants to thrive. I want to note that while we often talk about the ways in which communities benefit from investments in public spaces, sometimes we don't talk about the fact that in many cases we have to be aware that new investments can lead to higher housing costs, which can lead to displacement and gentrification. And that means we have to be extremely thoughtful and intentional about how these investments happen with communities at the table every step of the way. That's why our city departments have been and will continue to partner with community groups to ensure that the improvements to this park are equitable, inclusive, and root our residents more firmly in the city than ever before. We know that community safety is very much connected to the opportunities for open space and public parks. We know these opportunities include the chance to contract and close the racial wealth gap as local businesses that border Franklin Park can provide employment and skills training for young people, stabilize housing for homeowners and renters, and nurture a deeper sense of community through placemaking in our green spaces, parks, and programming. At every turn, the goal is to ensure that we are digging in with community for safety for all, rather than having to respond and react after incidents occur. And that's why I'm proud to be releasing a plan that takes a preventative, community-centered approach to addressing the root causes of violence and centering the safety and stability of surrounding neighborhoods, in conjunction with all of the resources across every single department. This plan wouldn't have been possible without the collaboration and insights of our community members, leaders, and organizations, and we know that its implementation won't be successful without it either. Our goal is to ensure that Franklin Park today is as beautiful and accessible as any space in the city, one that really reflects the roots of this Olmsted-created treasure, and one that will have a solid foundation for years and generations to come. So, starting today, we're launching a 60-day comment period, which goes until February 10th. And in that time, anyone can share your thoughts on everything from what parts of the plan you want to see implemented first, to ideas for organizations and businesses for us to partner with, or additional comments or feedback on the plan itself and its implementation. To submit your comments, go online to boston.gov/Franklin Park Plan. All one word, no spaces. Okay, before I hand it over to Councilor Anderson, Councilor Fernandez Anderson, otra vez en español. Buenos días y bienvenida. Nuestros parques nos unen. Los parques son espacios en los cuales cultivamos el sentido de comunidad, por lo que hace sentido que recurramos a nuestras comunidades cuando necesitamos mejorar nuestros parques. A lo largo del proceso, hemos tomado en cuenta a los miembros de nuestra comunidad para desarrollar el plan de acción de Franklin Park. Por esto, es que las prioridades de nuestro plan incluyen adoptar un enfoque multidisciplinario, ofrecer oportunidades para desarrollar nuestra fuerza laboral y para reducir la brecha de riqueza racial, establecer una alianza entre las partes interesadas y contratar a un administrador de Parque Franklin que supervise las operaciones diarias, el mantenimiento y los proyectos a futuro, y cuidar el paisaje natural del parque, Quiero señalar que, aunque a menudo hablamos de cómo las comunidades se benefician de las inversiones en espacios públicos, no solemos hablar lo suficiente sobre cómo estas inversiones, en muchos casos, pueden conducir al aumento del precio de la vivienda, lo que puede provocar desplazamientos y gentrificación. Esto no significa que no debamos hacer estas inversiones, sino que tenemos que reflexionar sobre cómo las hacemos. Por lo que nuestros departamentos municipales están trabajando con grupos comunitarios para garantizar que las mejoras de este parque sean equitativas e incluyentes y que no desplacen a los residentes a lo que queremos servir y cuidar. Sabemos también que la seguridad pública o la violencia en las comunidades disminuyen a medida que aumentan las oportunidades comunitarias, ya sean oportunidades para trabajar con las empresas locales que rodean Franklin Park. Al ofrecer empleo y formación profesional a los jóvenes, estabilizando la vivienda para propietarios e inquilinos, o cultivando un sentido de comunidad más profundo a través de la creación de espacios en nuestras áreas verdes, parques y programas. Por eso, me enorgullece presentar un plan que adopta un enfoque preventivo centrado en la comunidad para abordar las causas profundas de la violencia en torno a la seguridad y la estabilidad de los barrios del alrededor. Este plan no habría sido posible sin la colaboración y las ideas de los miembros de nuestra comunidad, los líderes y las organizaciones. Y sabemos que dependemos de esto para que su implementación sea exitosa. Por eso, queremos escucharlos a todos ustedes. A partir de hoy y hasta el 10 de febrero, iniciaremos un periodo de 60 días para compartir sus comentarios. Para enviar sus comentarios, vayan a boston.gov/Franklin Park Plan. Una sola palabra, sin espacios. Okay, gracias, and I will pass it over to City Councilor Tanya Fernandes Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanya Fernandes Anderson, District 7 City Councilor. I'm very grateful to be here with you. Thank you, Mayor Wu, for such an exciting plan. Looking forward to learning more about it. In the spirit of the equitable preventative measures that you spoke of in terms of inclusivity, in terms of restorative, in terms of reparatory moving forward, I hope to work with the Parks Department and all the city departments to ensure that it is accessible, that it's truly accessible, that it's truly racially equitable. And if we're talking about preventative measures or violence preventative measures, that we talk about investing our capital and putting our money where our mouth is. So I welcome you, my white allies, and my brothers and sisters in this community, gentrifiers and non, those who've been here and those who are coming new, to join me in the efforts of putting your intentions in your actions and hopefully making it truly inclusive. I think that in the moment, as we are using Franklin Park, as we are strolling through these beautiful parks and we're looking at trees and animals and we preserve and maintain and invest in our animals and dogs and pets in our environment, we look at our communities and the disenfranchisement that surrounds us, the continued and perpetual saturation of poverty in Roxbury and in Dorchester. So we think about moving forward and we think about our trees and we think about the environment that makes us feel good. And yet, around us, there are people suffering. There are people dying. Here, we died 30 years sooner than Back Bay. So I think that it's important that we are very intentional in that when we say transformative change, that we look at how we are implementing community access and inclusivity, and that we do that with our actions in a better way. And I think that to be totally transparent and honest, I appreciate that you are someone who's very invested in your development, in your evolutionary process. And I'm humbled to be beside you to say I'm watching you closely, and I think that your intentions are pure. And I appreciate you for that. And so I look forward to working with you, with your leadership in your departments. I look forward to working with the community in the spirit of love and togetherness, that we build reconciliation in these spaces that we're talking about. There's so much healing to be done in our community. So while we celebrate, let's honor those who have suffered here. Let's honor those who are not here today with us. We look around, we see a lot of consultants and city people and board members, but there are people that need to come to the park so that we can begin the healing. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Anderson. As the stewards of this property and partners in this report, the Parks Department will be at the forefront of the improvements outlined in the action plan. In addition to gatherings of friends and family, all types of exercise and sports, kite festivals, hiking, concerts, and programmed events, Franklin Park offers a wide range of opportunities for exploration, immersion, and learning. We need to balance the impact of new improvements and expanded programming on park maintenance requirements while expanding capacity and elevating our maintenance practices. The work outlined in the plan needs to be done by coordinating our short-term interventions with long-term management approaches in order to establish sustainable systems and solutions for the varied ecotypes within the park. This plan provides a comprehensive and detailed blueprint for the future of Franklin Park and outlines a set of design recommendations structured by 4 overarching big ideas. Make connections and activate the edges of the park. And we'll do that by improving and clarifying entrances with new paths and signage, managing vegetation, and enhancing activities close to the neighborhoods. Clarifying movement. We'll do that with a continuous bike and pedestrian circuit loop and improving paths or trails and directional signage. Amplify magnet destinations. And we'll do that by providing for basic needs like restrooms, lighting, water fountains, and directional and informational signs. Improving the overlook, the Alma Lewis Playhouse, the park's main entrance at Peabody Circle, and determining future use for the historic bear dens. Unify the park. And we'll do that by applying a consistent standard of care to maintain the park's varied landscapes at high level for safe and sustained use of ecological health. Better incorporate adjacent facilities like White Stadium by rethinking fences, barriers, removing dense vegetation, or seeking collaborative programs and increase habitat and diversity throughout the park. The recommendations in this plan will make the park more inviting to both longtime users and new visitors. User experience will be enhanced by improving circulation and redesigning entrances to make the park a more visually cohesive and inviting place. By addressing the quality, distribution, and uniformity of lighting, we can guide use and circulation while enhancing a sense of safety. Integrating green infrastructure strategies will improve drainage and water quality while we protect our heritage trees by addressing invasive pests and setting standards for pruning and tree care. The action plan stresses the application of a consistent standard of care throughout the park that maintains its varied landscapes for safe and sustained use. Users will appreciate park-wide amenities, including restrooms, water fountains, and well-maintained paths that will boost park use and visitation. Thanks to the restoration efforts and the dedication of groups such as the Franklin Park Coalition, let's give them a round of applause, I know they're here today, as well as the Emerald Necklace Conservancy, Frederick Law Olmsted's Country Park retains its pastoral landscape of fields, meadows, and woods. One goal outlined in the plan is to increase natural habitat and diversity throughout the park, which has great open water space and trees for migratory birds of all kinds. We've even seen sandhill cranes on the golf course this past year. We're excited to share this plan with you. We look forward to reviewing the feedback that you submit and all the comments, and most importantly, we look forward to taking action. Restoring, refurbishing, and welcoming all to the 527 acres that is Franklin Park. It is now my pleasure to introduce a community partner. You will see him walking to the park at least 5 days a week. If it's not cold, maybe all 7. Every Tuesday, you will see him on the stage at the Alma Lewis Playhouse. Please welcome the president of the Franklin Park Coalition, Ricky Thompson.
Good morning. The Franklin Park Coalition advocates for a better Franklin Park for all. We're excited to be a part of this milestone in the Franklin Park Action Plan. This plan has been the hard work of the City of Boston, the Parks Department, with community organizations and groups. We've been a part of this since its inception, and we plan to be also part of the implementation and to support the implementation of this project, making Franklin Park a destination for all to enjoy. Franklin Park Coalition sponsors many of the most prominent events that happen in the park, including, as there was mentioned, the Alma Lewis Playhouse in the park, as well as community meetings around various issues involving the park, Kite and Bike Festival, Turkey Trot Run, and the Franklin Park Jazz and R&B Festival. That's why we're particularly interested in the restoration of this particular site, which is the Alma Lewis Playhouse in the Park original site that was established in 1966 by Alma Lewis herself. We look forward. We believe that programming and community involvement brings people into the park to enjoy. And we also look forward to all of the various improvements that are being done here and also into economic benefits that it will provide for this community. So thank you again for all of the hard work from all of the city agencies and consultants and all of you for coming out.
Thank you very much, Ricky. We're also so delighted to have a partner with us in the Emerald Necklace that helps take care of many things. One of them is trees. We have a lot of tree pruning that gets taken care of, and that gets taken care of with the help of the Emerald Necklace Conservancy. Here representing them today is Veronica Nika Trufanova.
Good morning. Does everybody still feel their fingers? Give it another wiggle. I'm so honored to be here with you this morning to represent the Emerald Necklace Conservancy. Thank you to our Franklin Park Coalition colleagues, Mayor Wu, Reverend White Hammond, Commissioner Woods, for your thoughtful leadership in this process. And thank you to the thousands of individuals and contributors to this exciting roadmap for Franklin Park, and for the thousands who will comment and participate in the next 60 days and beyond. The Emerald Necklace Conservancy joins a long tradition of local stewards who are working to maintain, protect, and improve this 1,100-acre linear park system designed by Frederick Law Olmsted over 120 years ago. And here in Franklin Park, the park that Olmsted considered the crown jewel of the necklace, we have found it so important not just to care for the trees and the canopy and the habitat of the necklace, but also continue and honor Emma Lewis's legacy with Franklin Park Coalition and Playhouse in the Park, and support creatives who bring inclusive experiences to the ruins and elsewhere in the park. A couple of examples you might have experienced recently have been Fujiko Nakaya's Fog by Flow exhibition in 2018, one of which sculptures was cited right here behind me, called Fog by Ruins. And then more recently this year, as we marked Olmsted's bicentennial with Olmsted Now, a project with Crystal B. and Gija called Wilderness Project with Black Cotton Club. And we'll look forward to partnering on bringing more of activities like that and inclusive artistic experiences to the parks. We're also working to bring electrical power to the site of the Playhouse to make this and other programming an easier logistical lift. So some of the things are really quite humble, but game changers for what can happen. And as Ryan mentioned, through our Olmsted Tree Society, we invest in maintenance and improvement to the necklace's urban tree canopy, which right now counts more than 9,500 trees and growing. And we're committed to improving maintenance standards within the park and investing in the canopy and ecology in line with the Urban Forestry Plan and FP Action Plan. We do a lot of park cleanups as well, not days like this, not today, but something to look forward to in the spring, and we also advocate for the park's historic features. And so we're so grateful to work closely with the city, Franklin Park Coalition, and surrounding communities on all these initiatives, and we look forward to supporting all of you in realizing the priorities of the action plan. Olmsted's vision for the Emerald Necklace was to connect neighborhoods across a growing city, what was then a growing city and continues to be one, from where we stand today to Charles Gate and the Back Bay, 5.5 miles away. And in each of the necklace's 7 parks, he wanted neighbors to connect across backgrounds and across interests. And what a wonderful opportunity to mark his 200th birthday as this year goes out by launching the action plan. And so we're very honored to carry on his legacy of public green spaces that encourage and enable shared use, shared health, and shared power for today's users and for future generations. We're really excited to get started. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nika. Now it's my pleasure to introduce my boss, someone that also, I don't know if you still walk in the park all the time, but used to always walk in this park almost every single day of the week. Please welcome Reverend Mariama White-Hammond.
It's true, I broke my ankle this year, so I got a little bit out of the habit, but I'll be back in the spring now that I can walk well again. Just about 2 hours ago, I was in Montreal for the UN Conference on Biodiversity. I was meeting with people from around the world talking about how we can both address climate change and prevent the extinction of species. And as I was listening to what many of them are doing, there's so much vision for what needs to happen in forested places outside of the city. But I felt like I was blessed and honored to have a space, a forested, natural space, right in our city. A place that has nurtured so many of us. I thought about my own experience as a young child coming here to the Kite Festival with my dad and learning that just running will not make your kite fly. That there are a few other things to the physics of how you have to be in order to see it take off. As a child, I didn't know how much Franklin Park is part of cleaning our air. I never thought about the fact that I lived in the middle of a heat island that only improves in the night because of the winds that are brought into our neighborhood by Franklin Park. And so my appreciation of this park has grown, not just because of all of the memories that are here, but because I have increased my understanding of how alive Franklin Park really is and how much it contributes to our communities. A few weeks ago, I was here running the turkey trot, as I have done every single time since it started. We wore t-shirts for Team Joel, my cousin, who spent his last waking hours here before, unfortunately, he was rushed to the hospital and passed away. This space, for my family and so many families, is a key touchstone. And so I'm really thankful for the work of this plan, not just because of all the infrastructure improvements it will make, but because it will allow future generations to have even more amazing memories here, even more ability to connect with the trees and the birds, even more ability to roll down the hill to their parents' dismay when they rip some piece of their clothing. And it is pretty important, I think, that we're here in front of this space, the Overlook. I did come here, and I loved the exhibit in the ruins. But I remember sort of saying to myself, I hope we can get to the point where these aren't ruins anymore, where they are fully restored and they are a place that we can come see open mic nights and see young people do plays and really participate in this as a space that grounds us. The truth is that there has been underinvestment in this neighborhood for years. I lived here on one side and now I live on the other side. And so we are really excited about the $28 million that were given to Franklin Park out of the sale of a parking garage in downtown. Yes, we are excited about that. With this money, we'll be able to make the investment that this park has deserved for years. And so my last piece is one last appeal to us all. So many people in this space and beyond contributed to help making this plan possible. It is a massive plan. You all know there's like a whole bunch of different pieces to it. And so I want to encourage you really during this next 60 days in our comment period to lift up where you think we should get started. This renovation is going to be massive and it's going to be done in multiple phases. Now I saw someone pointing it is not lost on us, this is why we're standing here, that so many people want this to be one of our first places that we really lean in. We got that message. But we invite you to get online to tell us, where do you think we need to go next? How can we work with you, and what opportunities for their engagement are there? And we are excited, as the mayor and I will be at a graduation for Power Corps tomorrow. And we really want to look at how that work can be done, not just from someone that comes from the outside, but it's a real opportunity to lift up people right here in this neighborhood and to engage them in the kind of proactive biodiversity restoration work that this neighborhood deserves. So we hope you will continue engaging. This plan is really just the beginning, and I cannot wait to be out here, not just running, but also cleaning, working, and together restoring the park that has given so much to us all. Thank you. We'll now have an opportunity to answer questions.
Mayor, Circuit Drive, what's the future there? It seems like the plan says there needs to be more study if there's any major changes to Circuit Drive in terms of making it potentially pedestrian only. Yeah. Where's that at?
So one of the things that people really noted is that sometimes it feels hard to get between pieces of the park, and Circuit Drive is a part of that, right? I know we've all been needing to get somewhere quickly and have not always treated Circuit Drive like it is a promenade through a park. So, yes, we do need to study more, but I do think there will, at minimum, be things like traffic calming to prioritize pedestrians and the people that are in the park and not just turn this into a parkway that people drive through. So anything beyond that, yes, we do need to study and we need to work together to figure out, because we also know that many people drive to get here to participate in the park, and we've got to find that balance. But we do, at minimum, need to slow those speeds a little down so that individuals who are walking, running, sitting in the park don't feel like it's dangerous to move from one side to the other.
The 60-day comment period, is that going to be used just to prioritize the various measures? I mean, obviously the plan is like 400 some pages. There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
The 60-day comment period, is that just going to determine what the top priorities are, or just...
Yeah, we'll listen to anything, but our core focus is we really want to hear from folks where you think we should get started. There's 10 to 15 years worth of work in there. And so we've heard loud and clear about this space, but then there are other things that I think people want. And we welcome people to also share ideas around how do we do traffic calming? How do we think about the reality that vehicles are here, but we want to prioritize pedestrians? And so that we'll look at all of what comes through, but prioritization is probably our top goal, because we have the resources and we want to get moving.
And I'll just and just a note on that. I know sometimes 60 days, especially overlapping with the holiday period, can feel like it's pretty quick. There has been a lot of feedback so far with many of the folks here today helping drive that. Our goal in setting these timelines is to have immediate first steps ready to feed into this next year's city budget. And so without funding and action feeding through that budget process, it'll end up taking even longer than we've already been waiting for some of the pieces for it. So that is why we really want to get things going, and now that this incredible plan is out there, start figuring out what can we actually move into the city budget as soon as this next year cycle.
After what happened to Jean McGuire, she said
We'll go here and then Sean next.
Okay.
After what happened to Jean McGuire, she said she would never walk through this park alone again. Can you tell us what in that 400 pages seeks to improve safety for not just her, but anybody else walking in this park, be it lighting or other specifics?
Yeah, so lighting is a piece of what we're looking at. Wayfinding is also a piece of what we're looking at, sort of making clear what paths folks should stay on. And we have had calls for the call boxes, and so that's something that we're looking at, and where and how. Yeah, so lighting is definitely a piece. there is a trade-off and a balance between if you bring electricity or if you bring things, how do you also protect the sort of look and historic nature of the park? But we're looking at all of those pieces.
Is that 28 million?
And then I'll just a note. Sorry, Sean. One last thing on safety, and then I promise I'll come to you. The best way for any space in the city to feel safe is for it to be active and used, and for people to be there together. More eyes on the street, more neighbors watching out for each other. We are so grateful that in the case of Miss McGuire, it was bystanders, people who were using the park at a different event, who were able to help her right away and make sure that she received medical care, and EMS was contacted to be there. And so part of what we want to do is really open up every single part of this park to be a place that people have something exciting to go do or see or be part of. And that is, again, with all of the other ways that we're trying to address staffing and lighting and infrastructure, most of all that is the vision. This is a beloved, beloved park, and we need to put in the resources so that every bit of it is kind of restored to the original vision, that every corner of it would be well used. Sean.
How much money are you looking to put into this, and how much will it be compared to what the Commons get?
So we haven't actually decided the budget for the Common or Franklin Park, and that's part of the reason why we're looking at that as part of our next budget submission. So we are already starting on our capital budget plan, and this will definitely be in there. The $28 million, though, is helpful because it gets us started. And there are a number of things we know we need to do that can be covered by that. But that's definitely not going to be enough. We'll really have to plan over the next few years. And that's why the prioritization matters, because some things could be done pretty quickly with less resources, and some of them will require pretty significant investment. And we'll have to hold all of those things together. As the mayor was saying, that's part of the reason why we're trying to get folks to comment and comment soon, and because then we can take all of those, see what we have there, and then turn those into actual numbers for this next cycle and beyond.
Last question. I have a question. First of all, I'd like to clarify the G. McGuire comment. She said she's never walking this park alone at nighttime. Never. The comment that was just said. And no one should walk alone at nighttime. So we should get that clear. And secondly, we have community people that have questions too. So, you know, of course, my concern is, of course, Alma Lewis. I mean, I've heard about Alma Lewis since I was a kid. Unfortunately, I was never able to join her dance group, but I did put my daughter in dance, and I understand the reason that she existed. Yes. So we need to honor Alma Lewis and make sure she has a plaque here, and this will no longer be a ruin.
Well, I did have the opportunity to meet Miss Lewis. My sister learned Suzuki piano and Suzuki violin, and I learned Suzuki piano in the basement as what is now Grace Church. And my father danced the second year in Black Nativity. So little thing, go see Black Nativity. It's still around this weekend. I went last weekend, our whole church went last weekend, and there were not enough people here. So if you care about Miss Lewis, one really concrete thing you can do is go support that play. She made it happen. It's been going for almost 50 years, and it has held on to her legacy. So go ahead. It's downtown at Emerson. But yes, that is a place. This is a place we clearly hear. We had it here to make it clear that we heard you loud and clear, and this is a place we'll get started. We do need to know also on the other 525 acres where you also want us to get started. But rest assured, we know this is top of the list.
I've lived in this since 1975, since I was born, and I can't walk through this park and feel safe. We're talking about Tennessee Park. Well, we want to spend all this money. So how do we do that when we have, most of us are standing on leaves, right? Because of the small, the tiny homes that we have. What's the discussion for that? How are we protecting not only ourselves and our neighborhoods, but how are we protecting our parks? And that should be a conversation in this. And the other thing is, if you look around here, there's not enough of us here to have this discussion, right? And as a Black woman living in this city all my life, went to school in this city, I've done everything in this city, my voice is important. And I think we need to talk about not just the park, but how does that affect this and all of these surrounding areas.
Yes.
And that's my question.
Could I follow up on that and ask and just point out that the Shattuck Hospital was sold off by the mayor of Boston to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in 1948 or so. And it was apparently good for the purposes of James Michael Curley. To get hospital facilities and all that. But we're at an amazing period right now where there's this infusion of money coming in to help on all sorts of other things, focus people together, all of us together. I think this is a perfect opportunity to look very carefully. Whatever's done on the Shattuck site should meet the public health needs of the people of the Mattapan, Roxbury, Dorchester, Chaffee areas. And to work together to make a program, to use that space, design that space, have it be a balance of things inside buildings and open space that works for the people in this area. And I'm sure Maura Healey is going to be supportive of things that help the people of the city of Boston. And now seems to be the perfect time to work forward that's the next phase, not where we're at today. But personally, David Moore, would love to help with some of the legal issues and whatever it takes to make exactly the point that I think of my daughter in the Boston area, in the Boston area, opened a daycare picnic every spring on the field in front of Shattuck. That should be the sort of thing that the Shattuck area can be dependent to be used for.
So I just want to pause, and Mayor, did you want to answer this?
Sure.
I think we need to have a honest conversation, because some of what we just saw is also been a challenging dynamic in the midst of this conversation. The sister asked us to answer a question, and then someone else jumped to speak, and we didn't actually get to respond to what she said. And so I do think we need to have a space where we can have the conversation and we can get down to really how we balance this. Because it is true, this is an important open space. Absolutely. And some of our families are the people that are hurting and struggling at the same time. And how do we hold both the reality that people are sick and hurting, and the reality that this is a space for healing and recreation? Like, all of these things are true at the same time. I was really excited to be at the conversation led by the Franklin Park Coalition. Saw people that I've known for years. Some of us remember being at Body by Brandy, and it was really great to have her there because she's also been in this space for a long time. So I'm willing to, I can speak for myself, for Commissioner Woods. We've been having conversations with the mayor, trying to hold the tension between a number of different important things, and welcome suggestions. There's some that you have already sent us that we're going to work on. People specifically asked us to look at lighting in some of our areas that are really can get dark, and also to look at adding murals and paint and other places where we can to clearly signal. Some of those things we can already get started on, but there are other things we still need to do. And let's just be honest, this is not a simple conversation with simple answers. We gotta dig in, and we've gotta do it together. And we also need to balance the reality. My parents live on the other side of this park, and I know there are some challenges in terms of issues of race and class, and which neighborhoods are being heard and which neighborhoods are not. And all of that shows up in that space, and we still gotta push through. This park and this issue is dealing with some of the core challenges that we're facing as a city. Some of us were here when nobody wanted to live here. And we remember what it was like, and we remember any life lost is too much. But I remember when we're talking 300 people being shot a year, when we weren't allowed to go out, and the kids in the neighborhood used to make fun of us after the streetlights because things were significantly more challenging than they are now. And so I want us to hold more than one thing true. Yes, we have work to do. And we've come a very long way because of the legacy of people like Elma Lewis. So I want us to hold both of those realities at the same time and dig in and figure out how we do this together.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So, could you? Yeah, we'll have one last comment, and then I want to add a little bit to these questions too, and then we'll wrap.
Good morning. Coming from a healthcare perspective, I'm a community nurse, and I've seen the beginnings and the ends. But one thing that I think where we could put the funds immediately is into those blue boxes. There are several walkers, and we just did the turkey trot, and as well as other walkers, runners, active people. What if, unfortunately, someone got assaulted, but what if they have medical issues, heart issues, can't make it back around, let alone get help for others? I only see one blue box in the front of the golf house, and as I make my 2 miles around the complete circle, I don't really see another until I get close to the Shattuck. That's not appropriate. And I say that could be done immediately with our funds, where you say, where should we put them? Health and safety first, because we're all out here trying to better ourselves. So with that measure, I could see it being well received, as well as us being available for others. So please continue. Let us use the park. Let us continue to enjoy the nature. But we got to also have elements, lighting, like you said, bathrooms, other things that people won't have to feel I'm just stranded out here, because it is 555 acres. But that's wonderful. Thank you for this. Thank you for being here. I'm a proud Franklin Park walker, and I want to continue. And I'm not going to let that person stop us. I'm not. We're going to continue to keep our park. We're going to continue to walk, and we're going to continue to get healthy together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a great and really important concrete suggestion. Do you want to weigh in on that?
No, we're just ready to segue to this last piece.
Okay, so what I wanted to just offer, because I know we could have many hours of this conversation with the Franklin Park Coalition and with community members, warmer indoors, but while we're outdoors, I just wanted to note that, as the chief said, all of our issues are interconnected as a city, and we live today in the context of decisions that have been made over many previous decades, right? About what the relationship is between the city and the state over land that is in Boston, about what uses we have cited to different needs in the community. And our public parks have always been that final kind of catchment area for the needs that are spilling over where they're not being met in other places, or when we don't have enough housing in a community, parks end up spilling over, and parks end up being a place that people feel safe to go. When we don't have enough treatment, when we don't have enough this or that, the spaces that are common for all end up being where we often see the signs. But these are symptoms. It's not the root cause. The problems that the issues that we are trying to address are systems that are not working in other places, right? So that's why trying to make sure that we take a different approach and think about the opiate crisis and homelessness and mental health in a connected way is really important, because we know that it shows up in beloved spaces all over the city. Our parks are now a place where we do have checks and more resources devoted, with our team at Mass and Cass spending a significant amount of time in Franklin Park, in Copley Square, in other spaces all across the city. We need this is why I keep pushing for a relationship with the state where there's an understanding of what Boston's role is and what the responsibility and leadership of the state will be in ensuring that we are working together on this. And so rest assured that I think we all know, and we hear loud and clear, that we cannot have the conversation about how Franklin Park reaches its full majesty and use and welcoming sense without addressing many of the other systems that are currently in need. And we're going to keep those conversations moving together. All right, thank you, everyone. We have one more piece to today's program.
So now we are just going to honor another piece. So we started with yoga and centering and meditation, and we are going to finish, because all of us are a little cold, with some line dancing by the Rhythm Riders. Now they're going to lead us, but you are all welcome to join in. Even if you're behind a camera, you can do a little line dancing behind the camera. We invite you. They're rhythm riders. Many of us see them here, and they're an amazing, important part of this park. So join them in a little dance.
No, we're not professional. Hi, we're the Rhythm Riders. We dance every summer at Refractory Hill on Wednesday evenings.
And we're growing. We're doing this to get the community involved in health and wellness, you know, moving our bodies and keeping ourselves in shape, as well as everybody else. Okay, and this dance that we're about to do, it's gone worldwide. You probably all heard about it. It's Jerusalema. So if any of you would like to come up and participate, we're going to do the Jerusalema.
Yeah, if you want to join in, come on over. We'll get behind them. It's a little easier to do it behind them.
Are you guys gonna go for the record again this year?
For what?
I know last year you were trying to have the record for the most people for a line dance.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.